Olympic gold medalist GALAL YAFAI goes to war and unfortunately comes up short against Francisco Rodriguez. Plus, we will take a look at the brightest young prospects in British boxing, maybe even in global boxing. And that's right, boxing fans, welcome back to another edition of Chatter Boxing, the show that kind of sounds like shadow boxing. As always, I am AB. As always, we are here to chat boxing. How are we? I hope everyone is well. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get straight into it. Also, boxing fans, stick with me to the end of the show and I will tell you what happened to my eyebrow. It is boxing related, so stay tuned for that. Let's get started with HAMZA UDDIN, 21-year-old super flyweight. He improved his record to 5-0 against the Argentine, who was a 2016 Olympian. So not a bad level of opponent, to be honest. And what strikes you immediately when you see HAMZA UDDIN is the speed. He has got a lightning fast jab. Honestly, forget blink if you miss it. Like, don't even blink and you'll miss it. Like, that's how fast he is. He's got a lovely lead, a lovely left hand, a lovely lead uppercut to the body. We saw that a lot in that fight. And what I like the most about HAMZA UDDIN, especially compared to some of the other prospects that we'll cover today, is his fight management, his pace management, so to speak. He was very patient in there. He was in no rush whatsoever, very nice and controlled, not getting too excited, not exposing himself to too much danger, stuck to the basics, jab, lead left hand, as we said, uppercut to the body, working the body in the earlier rounds. And as I said, what impressed me was the pace management, because he was patient throughout the fight. And then in the 7th round, you could see he turned it up and boom, he got the KO. Actually, right before that, I think the 6th round, that was probably his best work. You could see that's where he started to turn it up. And then in the 7th round, he got him out of there in about 1 minute or a minute and a half in the 7th round. So overall, very, very impressive with HAMZA UDDIN. He is, if we go back to his amateur career, they were saying in the commentary, he's an 8-time British national champion, and he is a 7-time international medalist. But very promising boxer. We need to see him now step up. Obviously we will, to get a proper gauge of where he's at. But I think the future is bright. That's our catchphrase of the show. And I was overall very impressed with HAMZA UDDIN. Up next, we've got IBRAHEEM Spider SULAIMAAN, 24-year-old southpaw in the super featherweight division, 7-0. Actually, after his victory yesterday, he moves to 8-0. So very impressive young fighter. And what must be said in comparison to HAMZA UDDIN is that from the round one, from the opening bell, from the word go, IBRAHEEM SULAIMAAN was on it. It was all action from the beginning. Immediately you can tell that he carries tremendous power. He's got excellent reflexes throughout the fight. He was very slick, very elusive, beautiful with the slips, beautiful with the footwork, getting himself out of danger. But one criticism is the pace management. Although his first 2 rounds were extremely impressive, I feel like it took a lot out of him. And rounds 3, 4, 5, he was kind of subdued, still boxing at a high level, but the output was much more reduced. He was still staying very elusive. And then towards the 6th, 7th, 8th, I have to give him credit, you saw some of that energy and output come back. But I thought, to compare him to HAMZA UDDIN, it's very striking. You saw HAMZA UDDIN start very patient, very slow, slowly build up. Round 7, it was time to get the KO. He did just that. IBRAHEEM SULAIMAAN was the opposite. He started off very fast, all action. Could have got his opponent out there, but credit to his opponent, PHILLIPS, I believe. Very tough guy. This was his first fight in a couple of years, they said, in 2 years. So that's very impressive for him to stay in there. But because SULAIMAAN gave up so much energy in those first 2 rounds, he was kind of subdued, trying to regain that energy. And then later on, when he went to turn it on, which he did, it was just a little bit too little too late, and he couldn't get the stoppage. But he won on a very impressive points decision. One thing I will say, at the very end of the 2nd round, so he's a southpaw, sorry. At the very end of the 2nd round, you saw him, he dodged a few punches and with his footwork switched into the orthodox stance and landed a crazy straight right hand right down the pipe, right as the bell went for the second round. Honestly, I do love to see that. Very slick, very skilled boxer. In my opinion, I would advise him to maybe manage the pace a little bit better in the future. But man, all credits to him. Young 24-year-old. The future is bright, of course. Can't wait to see more of him. Following on from those two prospects, we had Giorgio VISIOLI, the highly rated 22-year-old British boxer, fighting out of Repton Boxing Club, the famous Repton Boxing Club, as an amateur. He's got Sonny Edwards in his corner. Sonny Edwards has already gone on record saying he believes VISIOLI is the best prospect in world boxing. And I must say I was quite impressed with him too. Again, straight away you could see very sharp boxer, very technically gifted, very fast as well. What I liked the most about VISIOLI is he gave us different looks. So in the first round, he was boxing with his hands down. Literally, I think for the first round, 2 rounds, he was boxing with his hands down. Later on, you started seeing him boxing in the high guard, not because he had to, not because he was getting caught a lot. It's just, he's just switching up the style, showing his opponent something different. Again, later on, we saw him move towards a Philly shell. You know, he had his arm down across his body, other hand up by his chin, really relying on that shoulder roll. And then throughout the fight, he would vary. Sometimes you'd see him with his hands down, sometimes in the high guard, sometimes in the Philly shell. But overall, I was very impressed. I like when a fighter has the confidence and the ability to show you different stances, just keeps the opponent guessing. Like, how do I approach this guy? Suddenly he's in the high guard. Suddenly he's in the Philly shell. He's dropped his hands. Is it a trap? You know, last time he dropped his hands, I went in, I got caught. So I do love to see that. Honestly, these three prospects, I think Matchroom have a very exciting pool of British prospects. And he's a super featherweight, VISIOLI, kind of like IBRAHEEM SULAIMAAN. Will they end up fighting each other in the future? Who knows, man? It would be very interesting. One other thing I liked about VISIOLI was his shot selection. I think his shot selection is quite sound. And my biggest highlight of this fight, I would say, is his knockdown in round 8. He knocked his opponent down with a rear left hook while he was stepping back. Like, as he was going back, boom, quick little rear left hook, knocked his opponent down. Very impressive stuff. Again, the future is bright, and I look forward to seeing him moving up in opposition, all in due time, of course, and seeing where the future takes him. Finally, for the prospects, we've got Pat Brown, the cruiserweight. Man, how scary is Pat Brown? Honestly, you wouldn't want to walk past him in an alley in the middle of the night, just one-on-one like that, would you? Although, to be fair, he does seem like a cool guy, and I have heard that he is actually a very nice guy. Shoutouts to Anthony for that. But man, he looks scary. Well, there's not much to say. Within the first 20 seconds, I think the first or second punch that landed on his opponent, you could see his opponent's eye was completely red. There was red marks on his body too, literally after about 30 seconds. And just watching on TV, you can see the power that Pat Brown carries. Kind of like watching Terra Moana last week. There's no denying the power. Like, you can't run, you can't escape, you can't deny it. He carries power in those hands, man. Very impressive stuff. I feel like in the future, like down the line, we'll eventually see him in heavyweight, maybe. Will he move up in time for us to see him against Jaya Pataya? That would be mouth-watering. Obviously, now's not the time. Pat Brown still needs to build up and gain experience. And probably Jaya Pataya will move up to heavyweight in the not-too-distant future. But that would be mouth-watering, man, either in cruiserweight or in heavyweight. Pat Brown, you know what I'm about to say. The future is bright, young man. And finally, it brings us to our main event, the war of attrition between GALAL YAFAI and Francisco Rodriguez. Of course, GALAL YAFAI, Olympic gold medalist, against Rodriguez, who went into the fight 40-6, 40 wins, 6 losses, 27 of those 40 by knockout. So, I mean, people are saying, like, why was he given such a hard fight, GALAL YAFAI? I think, again, I should fact check before I record, but I didn't. I do believe this was a mandatory, or he had to fight him, something like that. I don't believe it was just a matchmaker putting him in there against a tough, experienced fighter like Rodriguez. Mate, 40 wins and 27 KOs, that's a wealth of experience. That's no easy task. And one of my friends will say that the writing was on the wall from the ring walk. So Rodriguez's entrance, you could see he was having the time of his life. He came out to like UK Apache, like classic 90s jungle song. He was loving it. Smiles, taking his time, walking very slowly, smiling throughout, giving high fives to every audience member that he came across on his way to the ring. And he just looked so happy to be there, so relaxed. He looked like he was going to a party. Like, that's how big the smile was. Like, he was loving it. GALAL YAFAI, on the other hand, came in looking serious, came in looking focused, no smile, no looking around, came in looking subdued. Again, nothing too negative, and I'm not trying to pick on how people look when they enter. I'm just saying that according to one of my friends, the writing was on the wall from the beginning, because he had one boxer super calm, relaxed, happy, upbeat, and the other one who looked focused, I believe, looked focused, but my friend would say looked nervous, looked stressed, looked worried, kind of looked defeated before going into the ring. Anyways, from the word go, from the opening bell, this was all-out war. All-out war. He got YAFAI, got clipped with an uppercut, I think, in the first 20 seconds, and honestly, just didn't recover from that, man. So the first two rounds I had to Rodriguez, but then I had GALAL come up 3-2. So going into the sixth round, I had GALAL YAFAI up 3-2, but according to my scoring, that fifth round was the last round GALAL YAFAI won. I didn't give him more than 3 rounds after that. So he did improve after the first 2 rounds, but he never really recovered from that uppercut in the first 20 seconds. And you could see it. Full credit to GALAL YAFAI. He's an absolute warrior. Like, you could see this man refuses to go down. He refused to go down. And okay, he was knocked down in the 12th. Again, got up, refused to get knocked out. Most fighters in GALAL YAFAI's position would have got KO'd, because they should have got KO'd. He should have got KO'd. Such was how Rodriguez was dominating the later stages of the round. Such were the hard punches that YAFAI was taking, sometimes cleanly towards the end of the fight. But he hung in there. You can tell when a man is determined not to get KO'd and not to quit and not to have the towel thrown in. You could see that was all on display there. So I give him credit. Was it to his detriment? Perhaps. This is the debate. Even I saw an interview with Eddie Hearn after the fight saying, should they have gone all the way? Again, credit to YAFAI for being a warrior, but like by the 9th, 10th round, maybe the writing was on the wall. The only way YAFAI would have won is if he got the knockout. He doesn't really carry that KO power. Nobody was really expecting a stoppage. And the last couple of rounds, he was getting battered, let's say. He was getting battered the last couple of rounds. Could they have stopped it and saved him from 3 rounds of punches and a knockdown? They could have. I think they could have. But again, it's very easy for us to sit on the sidelines and say, oh, they should have pulled him out. Oh, they should have done that. At the end of the day, this is this man's career. This is what he does. This is his livelihood. This is his personality. It's in his DNA. He doesn't want to be known as a guy that got knocked out. So fair play to him. Who am I to criticize that kind of approach? He didn't want to go down, and so he didn't go down. Let the man fight. Let the man dictate his career, and let the man dictate his own story and his own legacy. That's just how I feel about it. As for Rodriguez, man, incredible work rate. From the beginning to the end, there was literally no stopping this man. He was relentless. You see sometimes people that come into the ring and for some reason that night they are determined to win and they are set on winning, and that's what Rodriguez was. Absolutely set on winning. Just like YAFAI was set on not getting knocked out, there was no stopping Rodriguez. The work rate, the power, the output, the non-stop pressure, catching YAFAI any time he could, any chance he could. Full credit to him. He opened up a nasty cut on YAFAI early on in the fight. YAFAI returned the favor. Rodriguez got cut, I believe, midway through the fight, and it was an absolute bloodbath. Credit to both guys. They just wiped the blood off and keep going and keep swinging, and there was no stopping either of them. And YAFAI also landed some shots on Rodriguez. He landed some good shots there, but Rodriguez was not having any of that. He was not leaving the arena last night without a victory, and he got it. And credit to him, man. Credit to him. And now the question is, where does GALAL YAFAI go from here? They'll be hearing people saying, like, is this the end for YAFAI? And thinking, what? He's only 32 years old, I believe, Olympic gold medalist, tons of amateur pedigree, very skilled fighter. We saw what he did to Sonny Edwards a couple months ago. Like, why would this be the end? But we need to remember that in those lower weight divisions, it's all about speed and reflexes. That's just the name of the game over there. And as we know, the last thing you lose as a fighter is your power. The first thing you lose as a fighter is your reflex, followed by your speed. So therein lies the question. As he ages, he's only going to lose his speed and his reflexes. He's not going to lose his power, but he's not really known for being a KO puncher or KO power fighter. So where does he go from here? Does he continue his quest for the world level? Or does yesterday show us that, okay, he might not be world level, as surprising as that is? So is it worth continuing and potentially taking more damage if you know that Father Time is against your side, Father Time is undefeated, and you will only get a little bit slower and lose some of that reflexes, and you don't have that KO power to make up for it? It's a very tough question, and it's a very tough situation to be in because you're in those lower weight classes. Whatever he decides to do, I sincerely hope he keeps fighting. I'm sure he will keep fighting. Why not? There's money to be made. He's got a great name. He's got a great pedigree. So I think he should continue. He should make some more money. Eddie Hearn can definitely sell some tickets with GALAL YAFAI and get some viewers on his fights with GALAL YAFAI. And I do hope we see him again competing at the world level. I'm just not sure if it will happen. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know about the main event. Should it have been stopped earlier? Should his corner have stopped it? Was the writing on the wall after round 9 or 10? What about the prospects? Who was your favorite prospect on the night? Leaving out Pat Brown. Was it HAMZA UDDIN? Was it IBRAHEEM SULAIMAAN Spider? Was it GIORGIO VISIOLI? Or is there simply no denying that Pat Brown is your favorite new up-and-coming fighter? I will also give a special mention to Conor Walker. He was in a very good fight against Liam Taylor. Very entertaining stuff. And he got a beautiful stoppage with a beautiful KO. And you love to see that. And as everyone was saying in the commentary on the night, if Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't want Tom and Jerry fighting, boom, Conor Walker. Conor Walker's your man. I mean, Liam Taylor was also quite impressive, but Conor Walker got that KO finish. And I do love his post-fight interview when they asked him, all right, where next? And he kept it so simple. He said, next, Saudi, Turkey, show me the money. I do love that, man. Why should we deny him that? Man came, did his job, entertained everyone, went to war, got the KO. They asked him, what do you want next? He said, next, show me the money. So fair play to him. Shout out as well to Peter McGrail and Baluta. I haven't seen the fight, but by all accounts, it was a good fight. Wish I could give them more coverage, but I will say shout outs to them. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the fight night, what you thought of GALAL YAFAI. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That way the show grows. Thank you very much for tuning in. I am AB with one final message for you: to keep those hands up. And very finally, before we sign off, a lot of you might be wondering what's up with my eyebrow. So I was in sparring last Wednesday, and we had a clash of heads, me and the guy I was sparring with. Clash of heads. Although I was wearing the head guard, I was wearing the flyer head guards. Maybe, I don't know if they show for me. Why I'm saying this is to say that I have unlocked a new level of respect for pro fighters. Now, obviously, in a normal pro fight, I mean, you wouldn't even get a split second. You just have to wipe away and keep going. All right. So that's the first thing. Obviously, in sparring, it was stopped immediately. Coaches, came and tried to wipe the blood off and all that. I appreciate that. Love that. But in a pro fight, there's none of that. A clash of heads, you have to deal with the pain right then and there in that split second. You have to wipe the blood away and you have to keep going. But that's not all. You then get 1 minute, obviously, for the corner to work on you. But then for the rest of the fight, you've got your opponent right in front of you, targeting that wound, targeting that cut, and just going for it and making it bigger and bigger and bigger and opening up the work of the cut man. So man, to deal with all of that, as well as being a pro fight in the first place and deal with your opponent, Have you experienced that? I honestly don't know how they do it, man. Big credit to them.
I know you feel it. 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 I know you feel it.